The London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine was founded back in 1899 by Sir Patrick Manson. For 120 years, we've been training future public health experts and conducting research to improve health all around the world. Our innovations have had global impact. Here are just 5 that might surprise you. We created the modern randomised control trial. In 1948, while working on tuberculosis, our very own Professor Austin Bradford Hill introduced the randomised control trial to health research for the first time. This is now the gold standard of trial design, used by scientists around the world to make fair comparisons between treatments. We proved the link between smoking and lung cancer. In 1950, Professors Richard Dole and Austin Bradford Hill published an early study connecting smoking with lung cancer. They went on to study the smoking habits of 40,000 doctors, providing important evidence that death rates from lung cancer and heart disease increased with the amount smoked. We're home to the inventor of exercise. In 1953, Professor Jerry Morris published a famous study comparing heart disease between bus conductors and bus drivers. It showed that sedentary bus drivers had much higher rates of heart disease than the more active conductors. This was the first evidence demonstrating the important connection between exercise and health. So you can thank Jerry for those trips to the gym. We showed that bed nets treated with insecticide could stop millions of children dying from malaria. Since the 1980s, our experts have helped develop, test and roll out insecticide-treated bed nets to people living in regions with malaria. We proved these nets could prevent millions of deaths and a great value for money. Now, over half the population of sub-Saharan Africa sleep under them. Their use has played a major part in halving malaria deaths over the past 20 years. We brought newborn deaths and stillbirths onto the global agenda. In 2005, we published the first national estimates on the causes of newborn deaths and the numbers of stillbirths around the world. 99% of the 8 million deaths each year were in low and middle income countries, yet were invisible on the global and political agendas. Thanks to ongoing work, targets for preventing these deaths are now included in the UN's Sustainable Development Goals, and innovations in communities and hospitals are saving babies' lives daily. Here's to another 120 years of health innovation.
Founded in 1899 at the Royal Albert Docks, the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine moved to its new building on Keppel Street in 1929. At the time of the construction, a mysterious committee chose the name of 23 scientists, from microbiologist Louis Pasteur to medical statistician William Farr. Their names were carved in a frieze that wraps around the building. They were the great and the good from hygiene and tropical medicine. They were also all men. Many years later, the names on the building don't reflect the talented and diverse people working within it. We're proud to announce that on our 120th anniversary, we're taking steps to rectify that.
She established that radioactivity is a spontaneous phenomenon. She also observed the biological effects of radiation.
She was very young when she made her main discovery, which was a treatment for leprosy. She was also the first woman to take a master's at the university and to teach there, and the first African American.
She elevated nursing to an art requiring practical and scientific training, which is why she is known as the founder of modern nursing.
The legacy of 3 remarkable women in medicine and science is now being carved in stone for all to see. We are proud to announce the additions of
Marie Skłodowska-Curie. She spent her whole life overcoming tremendous obstacles, and in that way she paved the way for scientific women of the future.
Alice Augusta Ball. Alice is an inspirational pioneer in science. She was very unique and very different from her colleagues at that time.
Florence Nightingale, social reformer, statistician and the founder of modern nursing.
We will shortly be erecting these women's names on the facade of our Grade 2 listed building. Join us in making one small overdue step to celebrate the achievements of women in science and medicine throughout time.
الله يرباني
والبالي كلمة يقول
الله يرباني
رقايل اللفاطمة
الله يرباني
يا جيب تلابينا
الله يرباني
كاتبك بالحسن
الله يرباني
أتور في السن
الله يرباني
دمي بالقلب ولا بيصال
ولا بيصال
وقرا ولا تبليتونا
ولا بيصال
وجونا يتالونا
ونبي صلى الله
قاتل اللفاطمة
ونبي صلى الله
يا جيب تلابينا
ونبي صلى الله
أبو لبكدة
ونبي صلى الله
أبو لبكدة
ونبي صلى الله ونبي صلى الله ونبي صلى الله
وقرا ورا بليتونا
ونبي صلى الله
قاتل اللفاطمة
ونبي صلى الله
يا جيب تلابينا
ونبي صلى الله
ولا تبليتونا
ونبي صلى الله
أبليتونا واتلونا
ونبي صلى الله
يا كريم
ونبي صلى الله
يا كريم
ونبي صلى الله
البادم
ونبي صلى الله
البرية
ونبي صلى الله
أبتبك جبل
ونبي صلى الله
أبكت الحبل
ونبي صلى الله
بشوف سنن
ونبي صلى الله عليه
وكلا ولا شبليشونا
ونبي صلى الله عليه
بليشونا سالونا
ونبي صلى الله عليه
تسيل اللبطيمة
ونبي صلى الله عليه
تجيب تربينا
ونبي صلى الله عليه
أبقك شبين
ونبي صلى الله عليه
أبقك شبين
ونبي صلى الله عليه
شوف سنن
ونبي صلى الله عليه
رجل شبين
ونبي صلى الله عليه
مراد الخدم
ونبي صلى الله عليه
البنية
ونبي صلى الله عليه
بليشونا
ونبي صلى الله عليه
تسيل اللبطيمة
ونبي صلى الله عليه
تجيب تنابينا
ونبي صلى الله عليه
البنية والله يبريكم مبلن
الله البنية الله البنية الله البنية ألف يا مولانا ونبي صلى الله عليه 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 ونبي صلى الله عليه
وكنا ولا زبيتنا
ونبي صلى الله عليه
وبليتنا تالونا
ونبي صلى الله عليه
تسيل اللبطيمة
ونبي صلى الله عليه
تجيب تربينا
ونبي صلى الله عليه
Thank you. Yeah, 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 yeah. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Oh yeah. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Organi boli lo, boli, boli lo.
Kanakani borilla, borilla, kanakani borilla, laila borilla,
Bolina boli lo, boli lo, boli lo.
kanakani borilla, kanakani borilla, laila borilla,
Bolina gol,
borilla,
boli lo golela,
borilla,
bolina ya habibi,
borilla,
ilina l'Africa,
borilla,
yalla li,
borilla,
boli lo, Allah yarham boli.
kanakani borilla, borilla, kanakani borilla, laila borilla.
Aliani boli lo, boli lo, boli lo, Allah yarham boli.
kanakani borilla, borilla, kanakani borilla, Allah yarham borilla.
Matalla,
borilla,
matalla غيره.
borilla,
قولنا وقولنا
borilla,
قولنا لأحبابي
borilla,
قولنا ويقولنا
borilla,
كيرنا لأفريقيا
borilla.
بولنا
kanakani borilla, kanakani borilla, Allah yarham borilla.
قولنا قولنا
borilla,
ويقولنا
borilla,
يبونا بلا تمام
borilla,
يبونا يا أحبابي
borilla.
يلا لي يلا لي قولنا قولنا
kanakani borilla, borilla, kanakani borilla, Allah yarham borilla.
والكاري بولي لا
borilla,
ويقولي لا
borilla,
قولنا وقولي لا
borilla. Thank you very much. Yeah, we are GNAWA plus London Youth Fund. That's Ginawa music from Africa, Morocco. Thank you. Congratulations.
Good morning. Good morning and welcome to Friends House for the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine's graduation ceremony 2020. The ceremony will begin very shortly, so could you please all take your seats? Please ensure that all mobile phones and other electronic devices are switched to silent. Graduands, please ensure that you are sitting in the seat assigned to you. You'll find your seat number on the ticket you received when you registered. If you are not sitting in the correct seat, this may disrupt proceedings. We aren't expecting any problems, but if for any reason we need to evacuate the venue, an alarm will sound and event staff will direct you to through the exit doors to a safe space. Please do have a look around now to familiarise yourself with the exits, as there are several around the room. You will notice there are several video cameras around the room. This is because the ceremony is being streamed live and will be available for download afterwards. Please also be aware that flash photography will be being used throughout as each graduand crosses the stage. Do feel free to take photographs, but please be aware, be careful not to obscure the view of those around you as you do so. Finally, today is a celebration of the success of our graduands. So please do enjoy the morning and show your support with applause and maybe even a little cheer. Ladies and gentlemen, could you please be upstanding for the academic procession?
Please be seated. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine's graduation ceremony 2020. This is the first of two ceremonies today, and it's wonderful to see such a large number of family and friends here to celebrate our graduates' achievement. And as David Archer has said, do feel free to celebrate in whatever way you may celebrate locally. It's always good to have a vibrant environment here in the hall. I would like to invite Professor Peter Piot, the Director of the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine, to the lectern to say a few words. Professor Piot.
Thank you, Professor Mills and Chairman Dame Marjorie, honored graduates and guests. It's a real privilege for me as the Director of the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine to welcome you here today to this graduation ceremony. It's not only a memorable day for all of you, but also for our life in the school, and I'm delighted to be able to share in it. This year marks the 120th anniversary of our school, 120 years of being at the forefront of policy change and fighting epidemics and health inequality, of training practitioners and leaders in public and global health, and of innovative research to find solutions and developing new tools to improve health and well-being in the UK and globally. Today, there is no more dramatic illustration that health is both local and global than the current outbreak of COVID-19, the unfortunate name given to the coronavirus that is causing a major epidemic now, starting in Wuhan, China. It's local because ultimately it's at a community level that people's lives and health are shaped. And global because in today's world, no infectious disease outbreak has to remain local. And both disease outbreaks and political and economic forces have global impacts. Our scientists are very actively engaged in the response to this epidemic, including in the UK and in Asia, but also in Africa. And soon we'll launch a MOOC on coronavirus. Now, the global nature of our school is also reflected in our staff, students, and alumni, and in the focus of our research. And when I mean global, I mean here and elsewhere, not just in low and middle income countries. That's the difference between global and international. At a time when some of the world seems to be increasingly turning inwards, we remain resolutely committed to tackling the most pressing health challenges, both here in the UK and around the world. Preparing for future outbreaks, and the next big one is only going to become a more urgent imperative in the coming years. We also face countless other challenges, more displaced people and refugees than ever before in history, with major health implications, prolonged conflicts and humanitarian crises, the potential rebound of the HIV epidemic amidst growing complacency, drug-resistant infections, spikes in preventable diseases like measles due to powerful anti-vax movements, and a tsunami of non-communicable diseases such as cancers, diabetes, heart disease, and dementia facing societies all over the world. All of this is set against the backdrop of climate change, shrinking space for civil society, diminishing natural resources, and the demographic implications that come with longer life expectancies. We're seeing some of these challenges play out right now as the Democratic Republic of Congo battles the second largest ever Ebola outbreak in history in the middle of an active war zone in North Kivu, reminding us once again that health is determined by a confluence of social, political, and economic factors. And again, our school and our staff are actively engaged in the response there. At the same time, let's not fall into the classic trap of public health academics and only see the bad things and all the problems. There has been more progress than ever in health. We've never lived so long and never been so healthy. Now, all the challenges will continue to have major impacts on all of our lives, but even more so for you graduates as you embark on the next stages of your career. The world really needs you. The benefits of your education also brings responsibilities, though. As the next generation of public health leaders and scientists, you will undoubtedly be working towards the solutions, and your knowledge, values, and creativity will be critical in shaping these. But in addition, and compared to when I was your age, you will have access to unprecedented technologies. And all that gives me reasons for hope and why I remain an optimist. And I hope that we are at a new dawn in public health, where we shift how we practice medicine and healthcare, moving away from firefighting to stopping people from getting ill in the first place and staying healthy. We're also just at the very early stages of realizing the enormous potential that technological innovations such as machine learning and artificial intelligence can have on our work and on our day-to-day lives. That's why we're launching in October, our first Masters in Health Data Science, because we need a new generation of people who can combine dealing with big data, artificial intelligence, and understand health. Technological innovation offers real potential for so-called leapfrogging in resource-poor settings, particularly to at least partly overcome major deficits in human resources and to better reach those in greatest need. At the same time, the wake-up call led by young people all over the world to urgently address the accelerating impact of climate change gives me hope. That is also why we launched last year our latest center, the Center on Climate Change and Planetary Health, bringing together researchers from different backgrounds to find solutions to the immense health challenges brought about by climate change and environmental health damage. I'm hopeful that the multidisciplinary and stretching nature of your degrees will have amply prepared you to engage and innovate across other sectors, ensuring that we are not addressing today's and tomorrow's problems with yesterday's approaches. As you embark on your careers, be prepared for the fact that it won't always be a straightforward trajectory. The idea that you can plan a secure career in these uncertain times, and all times have been uncertain, not just now, it is an illusion, and it's actually boring. And speaking from my own experience, I would suggest that you don't overplan, as you can end up missing opportunities along the way. I hope one of the things you learned here is to always look ahead and to prepare, while recognizing that life is always going to surprise us. So carry on learning and don't be afraid to take chances. I also hope that you agree that your success here owes something to the support of your family, friends, partners, loved ones, and the dedication and skills of our staff, our valued staff, many of whom are in the audience here today. And I would like to also thank each of you graduates for the important contributions that you've already made to the school. In addition to the things that you've learned in our lecture theaters and classrooms, and indeed have taught us, you've probably learned just as much from your fellow classmates, because we're also quite unique, the fact that so many of our students have already ample experience in the real world, not just from surfing the web. I'm sure that your classmates will also become part of your cherished personal and professional networks, that you can continue to learn from them and in the future. I regularly meet with alumni all over the world, and the most common thing I hear is, "This was the best year of my life," when they refer to the time of the school. Let it also be the year that you build a lifelong link to our school and to each other to join forces to improve health worldwide. From today, you join a global family of alumni. It's a family of tens of thousands working in over 180 countries, but united by a common mission and a common experience. We look forward to keeping in touch with you as your careers evolve, and we also look to you to support the school as we develop our research partnerships and educate future generations of students at a critical time for global health. Congratulations to everyone, and my very best wishes for whatever comes next. Thank you.
Many thanks, Professor Piot, for that inspiring opening speech. It is at this point in the proceedings that we turn to the presentation of our Honorary Fellowship and Special Medal. The Honorary Fellowship is the highest honour LSHTM can bestow and is awarded to those who have rendered exceptional service to the school or who have achieved exceptional international distinction in public health, international or tropical medicine. It is now my pleasure to introduce Mr. John O'Donnell to deliver a citation for Dame Marjorie Scardino. Mr. O'Donnell.
Marjorie became chairman of the council in October 2015, and until she stepped down in July last year, very much lived up to her nickname in the press when she became the CEO of Pearson, which was Marge in Charge. During Marjorie's tenure as chairman, she reformed the council, slimming it down from 24 to 16 members, made it rather more effective in the conduct of council business. Under her leadership, the council became far more strategically focused on the future of the school, worked in partnership with the senior leadership team to ensure the school continues to attract the best students from all over the world to study here in London, commenced a long-term review on how we enhance the student learning experience for our non-London-based students, planned a major upgrade of infrastructure and facilities in Keppel Street, and broke ground for a new building at Tavistock Place. In addition, in February 2018, we were delighted to welcome the Medical Research Council units in the Gambia and Uganda to the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine family. Marjorie enthusiastically led council visits to both countries in 2018 and 2019, and in the Gambia, we held our first council meeting outside the school in the history, outside London in the history of the school. The units dramatically enhance our physical presence in East and West Africa, expanding our ability to support world-leading scientific research throughout Africa in a way unrivaled by any other university in the world. Marjorie also brought about a step change in the school's approach to fundraising, professionalizing our approach and changing our engagement with donors, potential donors and alumni. We are confident that this focus on fundraising, which we continue with and regard as one of the Council's most important priorities, will bear fruit in the medium and long term. Marjorie was born in Flagstaff, Arizona, but is culturally and in her heart a Texan. In her youth, she was a rodeo rider, and this was a fact that was often mentioned in the British press, as they found it a very exotic pastime for the CEO of a FTSE 100 company. She studied French and psychology at Baylor University in Texas, and following a stint as an Associated Press editor, she completed her legal studies at the University of San Francisco. After a brief spell practicing as a lawyer and a newspaper publisher, Marjorie joined the firm she later headed by way of the New York office of The Economist. As president of The Economist Newspaper Group, Inc., she more than doubled its North American circulation. Upon assuming the position of CEO of The Economist Group in 1993, she moved to London and expanded The Economist into financial research services and sector analysis, all of which has set up The Economist for the force in publishing that it enjoys today. Marjorie was named as CEO of Pearson in 1997, becoming the first woman to head a FTSE 100 company. She swiftly charted a new strategy for the group, selling non-core businesses and making a big bet on education publishing. In the process, she transformed Pearson into one of the world's largest education firms. During her time at Pearson, Marjorie was also a trustee at Oxfam, a director of the V&A and of Nokia. Marjorie's communications contributions to media and publishing in the UK were recognised when she was named a Dame Commander of the Order of the British Empire in February 2002, and in the same year she was awarded the Benjamin Franklin Medal. In 2012, Marjorie stepped down as CEO of Pearson, and the following year she joined the boards of Twitter, IAG, the parent company of British Airways and Iberia. Fortunately for the school, in addition to arts and education, Marjorie has had a long-standing interest in global public health. Apart from President and Mrs. Carter, Marjorie is one of the longest-serving board members of the Carter Centre, which seeks to prevent and resolve conflicts, enhance freedom and democracy, and improve public health. In particular, and in common with the school, the Centre emphasises action and measurable results in the lives of people it seeks to help. Its guinea worm eradication programme is a model of commitment and perseverance on how to go about eradicating a disease. When the Centre began leading the international campaign to eradicate guinea worm in 1986, there was an estimated 3.5 million cases in 21 countries in Africa and Asia. Today, that number has been reduced by more than 99.99%, and when the disease has finally been defeated, it will be the first disease since the eradication of smallpox in 1980 to be eliminated. Marjorie joined the board of the MacArthur Foundation in 2005 and became chairman of the board in 2012. The foundation is unique in the world and believes that it is possible to achieve significant progress on some of the world's most pressing social challenges, including advancing climate solutions, decreasing nuclear risk, promoting local justice reform in the United States, and reducing corruption in Africa's most populous country, Nigeria. Marjorie is a Fellow of the Academy of Sciences and was made a Fellow of the Royal College of Art in 2019, having served on the board of the college for many years. She is also the recipient of a number of honorary degrees. It would be clear to all of you from the breadth and interests and achievements that Marjorie has worked tirelessly in organisations dedicated to helping improving the lives of others. What may be less clear to you, to those of you who don't know her, is Marjorie's great personal charm and kindness. She always listens to others quietly, thoughtfully and attentively, and she is unfailingly gracious. As council members, she encouraged all of us to do more for the school, reminding us of the selflessness of our students and everyone who works at the school, who have as their guiding star improving the lives of others. In words and in deeds, she reminds all of us that for all of its sham, drudgery and broken dreams, it's still a beautiful world. In recognition of Dame Marjorie's contribution to the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine, I am delighted to confer upon her an honorary fellowship and to present her with a special medal.
I won't talk that long. I thank you for this wonderful honor, and I should be giving it to you, all of you, honors for what you have done to be devoted, to devote yourself to what you're going to do. For what you are accomplishing to the benefit of everyone in the world is crucial. I admire this school and the people in it for many reasons, but mostly because they do heroic, and you do heroic work, and you always want to do more. I have cherished the times I've spent with you and with everyone in the school, and I thank you again for this medal.
Many thanks, Dame Marjorie, and I'd like to add my personal thanks to her, having sat through many council meetings that she has chaired and been the beneficiary of her wise advice. It is now my pleasure to introduce Professor Nicholas Mays to deliver our citation for the 2020 Edwin Chadwick medalist, Professor Martin McKee. Professor Mays.
I'm delighted to have been asked to deliver the citation for the award of the Edwin Chadwick Medal to my uniquely engaged and energetic colleague, Professor Martin McKee. Martin has made outstanding contributions to advancing education and research in public health, nationally and internationally, over more than 3 decades. His passion and commitment to improving population health have had major impacts on policy and practice in the UK and in Europe and far more widely. His many major achievements include demonstrating the catastrophic impact that the collapse of communism in Central and Eastern Europe had on people's health, and the sustained harm to well-being of the long-term social and economic upheaval that followed, particularly in the former Soviet Union and its republics. But more recently, he's led teams highlighting the major negative impact on population health of the global financial crisis and the fiscal austerity measures imposed on countries such as Greece, and one could argue the UK, in its aftermath. On the side of education, training and development, as well as his work at the London School, he played an instrumental role in the re-establishment of the professional discipline of public health in Eastern Europe after the fall of communism. He supported the establishment of schools of public health in Central and Eastern Europe, and this was one of his major activities in the 1990s and 2000s. He's also worked tirelessly with policymakers and health authorities to improve health outcomes in that region and in the former Soviet republics and far beyond. But also much of his work has influenced health policy closer to home, particularly his work on smoking and alcohol use, and his interventions in the current debates on e-cigarettes are well known and have provided a rich theme for some of my teaching about controversies in public health. Martin's also helped establish and has contributed to the leadership over many years of the European Observatory on Health Systems and Policy, a partnership of European governments and academia, including the UK, the European Commission, the European Office of the World Health Organization, and other regional and national governments. And we are lucky enough to host part of the observatory at LSHTM, thanks to Martin. Despite being one of the most travelled people probably on the entire planet, Martin is also an extremely conscientious teacher of students at the school. Innumerable times I've caught Martin in the corridor on one of his brief sojourns to London, and I say, "But I thought you were in Estonia this week." And he says, "Yeah, yes, and I'm in Washington tomorrow. I'm just stopping off, I've been from Heathrow to give this week's lecture, then I'm heading back." And I suspect he'd probably be doing something this evening of that type, but he never misses his commitment. He's garnered many awards and prizes from many quarters during his career. Most notably, he was acknowledged for his services to the protection and enhancement of public health by being made a Commander of the Order of the British Empire in 2005. But closer to the sort of academic circles that I move in, he was identified as the most productive researcher globally in health systems research in 2014, where he represents an outlying dot on a scattergram that we proudly had in our coffee room in the department for many weeks. And in 2015, he ranked among the top 1% of most cited researchers across all disciplines worldwide. But these awards and statistics pale into insignificance when one encounters Martin in full cry as a publicly engaged intellectual in public health, engaging with equal measures of passion and analysis on an issue of the day affecting health and well-being. In the period since the 2016 European Union membership referendum, Martin has produced an almost daily series of commentaries, projections, predictions and warnings, covering not only the costs and benefits of leaving the EU to this country, but the state of the country's preparations for departure and the impact on the rest of Europe. This latest work builds on his long-term conviction of the importance of understanding the purposes and workings of global and European institutions, and particularly the EU. This may be partly the result of his having been born and raised on the island of Ireland. Martin has always believed that too many people in the UK, especially in England, know far too little about the EU and the rest of the world and care even less, and at their peril. In sum, I cannot think of anyone better qualified to receive the Edwin Chadwick Medal, and I call on Mr. John O'Donnell to confer the medal on Professor Martin McKee.
Well, thank you very much. I'm not sure how I can live up to that. I have been asked to say a few words, very few words. So I want to begin by congratulating all of you here today who are receiving your degrees. It's a tremendous achievement and the culmination of an enormous amount of hard work. As you embark on the next stages of your career, I wish you all good luck. I also want to thank the school for giving me the space to do what is being recognised today, and to thank my many colleagues here and elsewhere who have been with me on the journey that you have heard described. It's a bit of a cliche, but anything I have achieved to deserve this medal is due to the contributions of the many remarkable people I have had the privilege to work with. And of course, like you, I want to thank my family for their support. So I want to offer some thoughts on how you, as individuals, can be standing here. You can receive this medal when you get to my advanced years, or perhaps somewhat before that. What do you need to do to make a difference to safeguard and improve public health? Well, the first thing you need is curiosity. You should always want to know more about the world about you. The world is changing faster than ever, and that means that there is ever more to discover. So never think that you have learnt enough. You haven't. More than ever, if you want to make a difference to public health, you need to read, yes, The Economist, and the Financial Times, and Le Monde, and the Washington Post, and media from other parts of the world too. The second thing that you need is a willingness to take the initiative. Public health needs social entrepreneurs, people who will spot an opportunity and go for it. Be willing to take risks, but also accept that sometimes you will fail. We all do. Too often, we send out a message that it is better to do nothing than to risk failing. That is something we should never do. But it also means that those of you and those of us here on the platform and elsewhere who have become more senior must accept that if our junior colleagues do something and it goes wrong, we are the ones that are responsible. We need to protect you as you learn from your experiences. The third thing we need is an ability to make connections. Over the past half-century, epidemiology has achieved an enormous amount in identifying individual risk factors. But we need to look upstream. We need to look at the causes of the causes, and we need to look downstream to understand the biological mechanisms, which is what we've done in our work in the political transition in Eastern Europe, looking both ways. We need to go all the way from molecules to multinational corporations. But we will only do this if we respect all types of research, from anthropology to zoology and everything in between. There is no room whatsoever for disciplinary elitism in an increasingly complex world. The fourth thing you want to know, what you need to know, is what you are up against. We know a lot about the tobacco industry, but we now realize that the tactics that the tobacco industry has been using for decades are being used by others, in the alcohol, the junk food, the gambling industries, among others. And these merchants of doubt are now being helped as never before by the social media companies that have provided a vehicle for fake news on vaccines and much else. Once we focused our attention on mosquitoes as one of the main vectors of disease, and of course we must still do, but now we need to broaden our gaze to the other vectors. The fifth thing that we need is confidence. Far too often we hold back, we're concerned that we don't know enough to speak out. Yet if you have used your time in London to watch BBC Question Time, you will know that we have lots of well-known people, many in positions of influence and authority, who have no hesitation whatsoever about exposing their profound ignorance on television. Given a few hours on Wikipedia or reading The Economist, of course, any of you could understand the issues far, far better than they do. And finally, your approach to public health must be grounded firmly in values, and in particular, the values of human rights. It is far too easy to be complacent to think that here in Europe, in the 21st century, we have learnt the lessons of the 1930s, and such things could never happen again. But are we really sure that our political institutions here and in North America and elsewhere are strong enough to withstand the challenges? I personally am far from convinced. Well, those of you who know me, and it's already been alluded to, my commitment to the idea of Europe, will know that there's one thing that I must say, and to internationalism. Many of you have come to this country from beyond Europe. You will have struggled through the costly, unfriendly, and frequently incompetent bureaucracy to get here. Others of you have come from the European Union, and like us here, have watched the ongoing Brexit process with horror. I want to reassure all of you that whatever happens, you will always be welcome at this school. Just as bacteria and viruses overcome artificial national borders, we in the public health community put our governments on notice that we will do so too. But Peter already alluded to the fact that public health academics tend to be pessimistic, and that is true. My career has been generally helped by assuming the worst, because it does tend to happen. But there is good news. You, as you've already been told, have the skill and commitment to make the world a better place, to fix the damage that my generation has done to our planet and to our societies. You, individually and collectively, and with the wider community of alumni from this school, will make a difference. I and all of my colleagues here are extremely proud to have played a role, however small, in nurturing you, and again, I wish you all success for the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor McKee, for that fantastic speech. I think we often tend to forget some of the outstanding strengths we have within the school. And I think it was a huge pleasure, not just for you to hear that speech, but also for those of us on the platform. And I think that Professor McKee has certainly received a suitable accolade from the school, and I'm delighted about that. We now come to the presentation of today's graduates. Mr. John O'Donnell, on behalf of Council, the governing body of the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine, we invite you to formally recognise and celebrate the academic achievements of its students. Representatives from each faculty will present to you the master's degree students who qualified for a degree in the academic session 2018-19. I call upon Professor Helen Weiss to come forward and present the master's degree graduates from the Faculty of Epidemiology and Population Health. Professor Weiss.
Good morning. It's now my pleasure to introduce the graduates from the Faculty of Epidemiology and Population Health and to invite you to make a lot of noise to celebrate our graduates. For the award of the Master of Science in Clinical Trials by Distance Learning, the University of London 150th Anniversary Prize, Stephen Peter Hibbs. Trevor Beattie. Wendy Bertram. Panagiotta Golfi. Grace Oshifanya. Edward Stanhope. Melanie Fang. Yuki Asaka. For the award of Postgraduate Certificate in Clinical Trials by Distance Learning, Latifa Rahman. For the award of Master of Science in Demography and Health, Uman Male. Anna Scholes. Rachel Wright. For the award of Master of Science in Epidemiology, the Adrian Root Prize, Elizabeth Adesanya. With distinction, Cristina Garcia Marino Alcazar. With distinction, Viasan Mahalingasivum. With distinction, Kate Nelson. With distinction, Mark Osterdahl. With distinction, Julia Segozzo. With distinction, Catherine Smith. Elizabeth Adamson. John Yun Bank. Jaime Borjas Howard. Jessica Vidgen. Ellie Cannon. Sonia Chemlal. Evan de Shriver. Augustine Fomba. Mercy, is that, sorry. Freddie Green. Philippa Harris. Jan Koopman. Sarah Langhorn. Octavia Mulhern. Connor Mustard. Edward O'Brien. Jessie Oyenlola. Sonia Patel. Orla Ingeborg Quinn. Callum Robbins. Alicia Showering. Oluwatalima Rayu Ayu, Shinobi. Kake Sum. Fernanda Valerio. Joshua Warden. Justine Fan. For the award of Master of Science in Epidemiology by Distance Learning. Chomugisha Denise Aman. Wan Ling Ang. Jacqueline Burgess. Kelvin Chararimba. Ria Fitzgerald. Elaine Glass. Fine Lang. Mark Joint. Angela Lupatelli. Anna Mensa. Katrina Muglin. Peter Ntumba. Diana Ondieki. Christine Pacheco Claudio. Camille Perrott. Dixa Thakra. Is it? No, sorry. Savas Flatchas. Yep. Eric Wafula. Inga Vorni Schudel. Zenith Yu. And for the award of postgraduate diploma in epidemiology by distance learning, Linda Drummond. Mallory Gilmore. For the award of Master of Science in Global Mental Health, with distinction, Sarah Divos. With distinction, Julia Dunn. With distinction, Aviva Gilman. With distinction, Bianca Moffat. With distinction, Jordan Troop. Lisa Asoyu. Sonali Amarusakera. Janani Anbarasan. Yasmin Benbow. Omar Zakaria Khani. Vilja Danieli. Sarah DeVeo. Catherine Elliott. Vanessa Enahoro. Valeria Flores Marquina. Fabiane Goswami. Oda Carlson. Jacqueline Gatoni Meburu. Ibudini Oloninini. Teresa Pollard. Masar Sadiq. Isabel Vitti. Dina Rasidi. For the award of Master of Science in Medical Statistics, the PSI Andrew Hewitt Prize, and with distinction, Amina Tran. With distinction, James Burns. With distinction, Catherine Holsworth. With distinction, Jacqueline Murphy. With distinction, Matthew Price. With distinction, Leonard Roth. Paris Baptiste. Margherita Bortolini. Amanda Busby. May Chester-Jones. Samantha Cross. Catherine Edgar. Fitsum Gepinthi. Gemma Greenin. Theodora Katsanuli. Shupung Lee. Rihanna Mortimer. Luke Uma. Alka Sobti. For the award of Master of Science in Nutrition for Global Health, the Hecht Beckest Prize with distinction, Kelsey Beatrice Gray. With distinction, Fernanda Morales-Berstein. Barbara Andrewsy. Aurelie Betchoff. Sheena Minakshi Bagiruti. Daphna Bichachi. Neve Caffrey. Mpatso Chisala. Patrick Crom. Catherine Davis. Ramona Engler. Jessica Garcia Heil. Ali Hakizimana. Sophie Hardy. Natalie Hickman. Antoinette Marie Jorgensen. Joycelyn Katembi. Sin Yu Lo. Alejandro Loredo Mayo. Katrina Lundberg. Cassie Moore. Claudio Fio Oakley. Leila Oslati. Arundel Piercy. Manuela Shearer. Melissa Scott. Lauren Scruggs. Janet Tapkigan. Grace Turner. Lachey Yaboa Atakra. For the award of Master of Science in Reproductive and Sexual Health Research, with distinction, Hattie May-Lowe. Nolene Advani. Lydia Omalara Akinola. Vanessa Anglade. Christine Shadera Anyanwu. Elizabeth Nkanjika Ashikodu. Chanel Beaumont. Rebecca Best. Lowry Davis. Michalina Drescher. Thais Gonzalez Capella. Panis Hosseini. Abibatu Kamara. Monica King. Leanna Mills. Amber Newbigging Lister. Rebecca Penzias. Leah Shrube. Fenny Taylor. Eleanor Watson. Anya Zinka Almang. And with distinction for the MSc in Global Mental Health, Jennifer Clay. MSc Epidemiology, Merce Graz Perez. And that concludes the awards to the Master's graduates for the Faculty of Epidemiology and Population Health.
Thank you, Professor Weiss. I now call upon Alison Grant to present the master's degree graduates from the Faculty of Infectious and Tropical Diseases. Professor Grant.
Good morning. It is now my pleasure to introduce the graduates from the Faculty of Infectious and Tropical Diseases. For the award of Master of Science in Control of Infectious Diseases, awarded the Eldred Parry Prize and passed with distinction, Hannah Rhiann Milbourne. With distinction, Jonathan Abellis. With distinction, Claire Valerie Collin. With distinction, Ella Price Davis. With distinction, Rachel Fay Merrick. With distinction, Bethany Joy Pelequin. With distinction, Emma Pujol Hodge. Sophie Elizabeth Ball. Jacob Alexander Raphael Biggio. Amanda Rachel Brunetti. Catherine Lima Chantre. Jenny Chen. Emma Judith Clark. Ia Seydou Condé. Lucia Dancero. Dominic Joseph Day. Letizia Dundee. Jason Raymond Doran. Jane Hannah Evans. Chandler Sassa Hinson. Yumiko Hosaka. Sabina Ikram. Neelam Iqbal. Rukun Kadim Salim Khalif. Johannes Marinus Antonius Custas. Christina Leggio. Suzanne Lutke. Thomas Marr. Emily Louise Mason. Jake Daniel Mathewson. Anne Maivalt. Thomas Mogadas. Divya Elizabeth Mulil. Ogogo Orife. Jacob Alexander Reshata. Sara Eloisa Rivera Molina. Elliot Jonathan Rogers. Rebecca Russell. Belen Saavedra Severa. Iona Lucy Alice Tarbert. Jonathan Simon Thompson. Cameron Paul Ward. Harriet Margaret Hanrat Webster. Ruth Hannah Wilkie. For the award of Master of Science in Immunology of Infectious Diseases, awarded the Michael Stewart Prize and passed with distinction, Jennifer Ruth Tomlins. With distinction, Hannah Davis. With distinction, Jacques Daniel Dutoy. With distinction, Kenneth Seba Umblide. Taslim Ahmed Abdallah. Nina Esmeralda Engels. Lucy Elizabeth Holt. Nisha Kathricha. Daniel Stephen George Underwood. Molly Alice Vickers. For the award of Master of Science in Infectious Diseases Distance Learning, Natalia Fernandez Fernandez. Fru Gebreyesus. Sophie Helen Myhill. Huda Taha. For the award of Master of Science in Medical Entomology for Disease Control, Vishal Sanjay Dokia. Toby Lawrence Panatti. Anne Kristin Schwenger. Sean Elizabeth Wackley. For the award of Master of Science in Medical Microbiology, awarded the Bodrasa Prize and passed with distinction, Adeobi Afomo Ojiako. Awarded the Sikwe Prize, Maureen Akinyi Obara. With distinction, Miriam Eva Ecker. With distinction, Zara Natalie Omole. Ali Aburig. Wesley David Allen Bonin. Laura Di Muro. Zoltan Elekes. Philippa Catherine Hollingshurst. Muhammad Ali Ridha. Stephanie Routley. For the award of Master of Science in Medical Parasitology, awarded the Patrick Buxton Memorial Medal and Prize and passed with distinction, Jane Bridget Grant. With distinction, Grace Gill. With distinction, Felix William Lanwan. With distinction, Jasmine Tyler Moore. With distinction, Mari Kate Vaughan. Alexandra Isabel Gidley. Daniel Anthony John Parsons. Julia Pianta. Rimsha Masood Qureshi. Lauren Jane Whitfield. For the award of Master of Science in One Health, Ecosystems, Humans and Animals, Christy Beasley. Laura Cook. Abigail Johanna Gross. For the award of Master of Science in Public Health for Development, with distinction, Josephine Mary Catherine Reynolds. Mervat El Hafa. Marisol Estrella Balani. Omorin Shola Balogun. Jo Chit. Sandrina Ruth Frischer. Abir Gebegri Kabokri. Katie Ann Leach. Echo Adam Mensah. Ilham Wansafi. Rawan Yusuf. For the award of Master of Science in Public Health for Eye Care, Jiba Inare Abiyasuku. Adeyemi Timothy Adahulai. Frederick Afum Asare. Jessica Elizabeth Rose Boston. Sophia Atoshi Ghani. Denise Jessica Kavuma. Lily Jevkoik Kimeto. Gatera Fiston Kitema. Matthew Njume Bwoge Ngime. Kennedy Ujikuku Nwachuku. Onyinye Edith Immaculata Onia. Jason Pitua Niawat. Christel Nyamde Tendo. Joseph Ogaga. For the award of Master of Science in Tropical Medicine and International Health, Helena Biazizzo. I forgot her distinction. Can you clap again, please? With distinction, Rachel Davis-Foote. With distinction, Kevin John Martin. With distinction, Cavan James O'Connor. With distinction, Hannah Sarah Rafferty. With distinction, Louisa Mary Samuels. With distinction, Timothy Hun Wong. Safia Akhtar. Edward Upia Kubi. Victor Botello Gomez Porto. Michael Benjamin Blank. Shruti Chandran. Leo Collias. Mariama Drame. Andrew James Gobriel. Andrew James Holt. Chihiro Ishihara. Sharon Israels. Sarah da Costa Jesus. Yuichi Katanami. Naomi Kokinos. Huma Paves. Anika Rahim. Emma Jane Roberts. Ted Shukla. Nora Louise Stan Bishop. And that concludes, no, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. It does not conclude anything. For medical parasitology, Kieran Dodge. And MSc in Global Mental Health, Emma Grindrod. And, last but not least, MSc in Control of Infectious Diseases, Chaitra Dinesh. And that definitely concludes the awards to the Master's graduates from the Faculty of Infectious and Tropical Diseases.
Thank you, Professor Grant. Ladies and gentlemen, the rite of passage that celebrates the academic achievements of this amazing group of students and underlines their transition to alumni is drawing to a close. The mission of our school is to improve health and health equity in the UK and worldwide, working in partnership to achieve excellence in public and global health research, education, and translation of knowledge into policy and practice. A particularly important way that mission is realised and lives on is through the work, passion and integrity of our school's alumni, sometimes in high-profile roles, other times in less visible but still vital ways, sometimes in overtly public health or global health contexts, other times in less obviously connected contexts. Each person whose academic achievements have been celebrated here today will find a different path onwards from studying at our school, and will find different ways to contribute to the world. You will benefit from the formal and informal learning you have had during your time at the school, and also from the social and interpersonal learning within our vibrant and diverse community. During your time here, you will have started building and strengthening your personal and professional networks. You must continue to nurture these as you develop your careers. Please support one another to continue to use your expertise with passion and integrity to make a difference in the world. And do please keep in touch. We love to hear what our alumni do after they leave. We hope to see at least some of you back at the school in the future, or joining our worldwide online learning community, pursuing further study as part of your continuing professional development. It is now my pleasure to close the ceremony by inviting you all back to Keppel Street for a celebration with light refreshments. Please ensure you bring your coloured reception ticket back to Keppel Street. Your reception location is indicated on this, and you'll need it to gain entrance. You can return your gown to Keppel Street, and I do hope it's not pouring with rain outside. There will be staff on hand to direct you. Thank you for coming to share in today's celebrations. Please stand for the academic recession.